with the 6 habits of highly resilient, joyful, fully living people. 4 is ground yourself. See, hardly anybody talks about this. That means sells yourself. Anybody who's very visual, this will be very messy for you. Keep breathing. Remember, breathing is important. Oh, maybe I'll put that in the be present one, because when you're being present, you'll be more aware of your breath. And make sure to take 2 big breaths in and then all the way out, blow the air out. But back to grounding yourself. Hardly anybody talks about this, but you think, how often do you take your shoes off and walk on the ground? How often do you walk around the house barefoot? And most people live in shoes. And how many people have natural product shoes? Hardly anybody. Like, I'm so blessed to live where I live because I live in bare feet. I've got bare feet on now. Shh. And I'm blessed to have a garden. And whenever I feel anxious or tense, if I don't want to tell myself, today I choose joy, or if I've tried that, it hasn't worked, if I've already gone and looked at my stories and modified those, if I've looked at am I slowing down, am I being present, the quickest way I can do that is to go into the garden. And I'm that gardener, excuse me, the garden. I think I'm allergic to these things, they make me cough. I go into the garden and I stay there till I feel better. My cousin Juliet said to me one day, years ago now, and there was such wisdom in this, she said, whenever you feel stressed, go into the garden and stay there till you feel better. And you know, I go barefoot. And we're in Queensland, everything's poisonous. You know, we have snakes and all sorts of stuff, but I make a lot of noise. And I go weed. And if I do have to wear shoes, then I try to take them off when I'm in a safe space. And I'll go and I'll have shoes on, but I'll work in the garden, I'll chop things down or trim things, and it just makes such a difference. So the first thing, garden. And if you haven't got a garden, if you're in a teeny-weeny apartment and you're trapped in a cell, then get a pot plant and spend some time tending to the pot plant. Or get one of those fabulous kind of gardening bins that you can put your vegetables in and tend to your vegetables and get your hands in the soil. And if you live in an apartment or you're in a house, if you have wood on the floor or you have earth tiles, you know, like all tiles have got earthy things in them, go barefoot on those tiles. But where you can, it's best to go outside somewhere where you can put your feet on the ground. And I don't know, there are going to be people who'll say I'm a bit cosmic, but go stand next to a tree. Put your hand on the tree. You don't have to hug the tree. I quite like hugging trees. And I'm not, you know, some kind of psycho space cadet. But every so often, there's a lovely looking tree and I casually lean up against it and make sure that my hands are on it so nobody thinks, oh, there's a tree hugger. But there's nothing wrong with hugging trees. Notice if you're judging that. Because judgment is not going to bring you joy. If you observe your thinking, you'll observe how often you're judging, and mostly it's yourself. And if you're a very heavy-duty judger of other people, that means you're probably a pretty heavy-duty judger of yourself. And so ground yourself. And if you're really trapped, there's no ground anywhere near you, there's no park, there's no nothing, then you can actually go online and there are places where you can buy earthing sheets and earthing mats. I have them, even though I'm outside every day pretty well and I'm barefoot all the time, except in winter. But pretty much I'm barefoot in winter too. I've got an earthing sheet on my bed and I have earthing mats in my car and I have one under my feet in my office. And my office has tiles on the floor and I'm usually barefoot on it anyway. So never underestimate the power of grounding yourself and the power of being barefoot or spending time in nature or smelling flowers or cutting, trimming hedges or weeding. I mean, I've never appreciated weeds so much in my life. Before COVID, BC, I used to think weeds were the greatest arch enemy on earth. Now I quite like my weeds. They give me a tremendous reason to go out into the garden and I can stay there for hours and hours and hours and there's still more weeds for me to pull out. And I always feel better after I've been in the garden.
Always look on the bright